Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'm going to cover Hercules, Prince of Power, number 2, published in 1982 by Marvel Comics. We have another amazing Bob Layton cover. This is very much a Bob Layton driven production, as I discussed in my coverage of issue 1 of this 4-issue miniseries. And very cool, and the cover really does pay off in the story. So let's dive in. We get our splash page, which is basically a neat 6-panel recap of what happened in the first issue, setting up the sort of main beats of the limited series. Hercules is cast out of Olympus because of his lack of humility. So to teach him humility, Zeus has banished him to the stars. And I think I didn't really point out in the first issue coverage that this is set in some unknown period in Marvel's far-flung future. So while Hercules did want to return to Earth, I think it would have been an Earth set in the future. And I think it's neat the way Layton is using the Marvel Cosmic Universe, the wider Cosmic Universe here. Anyway, Hercules meets up with the Regellians, who take him in, and along with his space chariot, and he gets the recorder unit to be his traveling companion and to record his mighty deeds. And so now we open up with For the Love of Gods. Bob Layton, story, layouts, and finished art. Luke McDonnell, art assist. Rick Parker, lettering. Christy Shield, coloring. Mark Grunwald, editor. Jim Shooter, Galactic Conscience. Interesting note here. So, Bob Layton layouts, story layouts, and finished art. So, and Luke McDonnell artist. So I'm assuming that Luke McDonnell did rough pencils based off of Bob Layton's breakdowns for the story, and then Layton did the finishes. Because it very much looks like Layton. But of course, when you're doing everything, sometimes you hit a deadline crunch. And so recently, I think before this, Luke McDonnell had teamed up with, I think, Bob Layton on an issue of Iron Man, maybe Iron Man 151. So I think they had a sort of comfort level with each other. And so here he comes in and kind of helps out, probably on a deadline crunch here. It starts out here with a race between Hercules and the Recorder and their star chariot and this conventional starship with these two scallywags. Okay, Clyde, we've given that void sucker enough of a lead. Let's blow him out of the quadrant. Good thing his cybernetic pal didn't know we've modified our ship with a T-47 afterburner. All I gotta do is hit this hidden switch and he can eat hot ion vapors, steroid breath. I lost. So again, this is another step, an incredible panel here showing Hercules once again eating some humble pie. And that's what's going to be happening throughout this limited series as he has some pretty incredible adventures and misadventures. So they land, and Hercules is in debt to them now to the tune of 10,000 credits. So to secure that he will pay, they hold his chariot and his horses in the meantime, so he can try to scrounge up the money. And this is a pretty prescient warning he gives them. It seems I have little choice, but take heed, my steeds are mighty and fierce of mien. Handle them with great care, and know thou this, they will not allow the golden sun chariot to be tampered with. I've got to hand it to you, Clyde. If there's a sucker within 10 parsecs, you'll find a way to fleece him. Say, Alpo, did he say that chariot was gold? So these two have some sinister ideas about what they're going to do while Hercules is trying to raise the money. So they come across a reward for this woman, Lyanna Sweetwater, a 10,000 credit reward for her safe return. Seems she's been kidnapped. So we can see Hercules is bursting in to try and affect her escape to earn the money to pay those guys off. An awesome action here we're going to get in the next couple of pages as Hercules is creating a diversion so the recorder can come in and secure the gal. While I engage the blackguard's attention, thou hast thine own task to perform. Thou must stealthily make thy way through the breach in the citadel. Take care to avoid the notice of yon varlets. Then thou must seek out the detention area. Then, my friend, locate thou the cell chamber of Lyanna Sweetwater. Once thou hast freed the maiden, exit the way thou didst enter. Dost thou understand my instructions, recorder? Statement, of course, sir. My comprehension of your plan is perfect. However, it will never work. Something will go wrong. So the recorder's almost gets her through the breach when this robot shows up. And great open panel here with the silhouette. Now you can see Hercules' raiment is pretty shredded here, and that's going to pay off later in the story. And this robot is no match for him. Perhaps thou canst perform one final service, Bimak. Observe yonder spacecraft. You cannot defeat Bimak. Thou canst ensure that Hercules shall not be pursued. Bimak is unconquerable. Awesome action here. Verily, 'twas a silly robot. Ho, my metallic friend, thou hast done well this day. Let us be off before my foes discover their senses and retaliate. So here the recorder takes a blast and they blow his hand off. Observation. I think we are going to need more money, sir. Sir? Ah, well, as Dionysus often saith, thou winnest a few and losest a few. So, and of course, Lyanna Sweetwater is smitten with Hercules instantly. Meanwhile, at the spaceport, Alpo, aren't you finished unhitching those horses yet? I want to fence that chariot tonight. Alpo? We got to get away, Clyde, quick. Quit fooling around, Alpo. We can sell that thing for 10 times the credits that Big Claude owes us. Just help me shut the door, Clyde. They're devils, I tell you. What are you talking about? And then we can see here the horses are not happy with being interfered with. And Hercules attempts to return Lyanna Sweetwater. What dost thou mean, no reward? Well, you see, Mr. Hercules, Miss Sweetwater's father is a very important member of the administrative council of this city. When our attempts to rescue her failed, we offered a 10,000 credit reward. That satisfied our father for the moment, but to be quite honest, we really don't have that kind of money in our budget. Actually, we didn't think anyone could rescue her. 'Twas but a ruse to calm a politician's anger. Something like that. Now, if you'll just hand over the girl, we'll see she is returned. Nay, officer. Jaweb, the girl is my charge until thou dost fulfill thine end of the bargain. That's fine by me. I hope they never come up with the money. You can't just walk out of here with her. And why not? I had no problem taking the girl from the pirates' stronghold. Oh yes, that's true, isn't it? So, we have a funny sequence here where the recorder gets fitted with a new hand. And they finally settle on this three-fingered job, which is close enough to his original. Last one's this Q76 baggage handler. What you say? I suppose it shall suffice. Thou mayest proceed. Statement. Oh, well. So, Hercules gets some new clothes. Pretty cool. And this actually will... they're going to repair his costume in the meantime, but this is similar to the one that he eventually gets in the second limited series, which I'll be covering on the show at some point as well. So Hercules is going to hang on to Lyanna Sweetwater, which is just fine with her, and of course they get up to some carnal relaxation, and the recorder is sworn to observe all of Hercules' activities, so he's... Speculation. Perhaps by using one of these crates, I may be able to view what is transpiring. Observation. Most intriguing. Self-interrogative. If this is what humanoid species call romance, their interaction is quite similar to the antler dance ritual on Sirius 4. Well, what do we have here, Maxie? Looks like we caught us one of those peeping cybers, Rojon. Statement, officers, you are quite mistaken. Sure we are, Tin Puss. Let's go tell it to the judge. So the recorder is arrested for being a peeping Tom. And meanwhile, Hercules and Leanna are enjoying, they're basking in the afterglow. And she professes her love for Hercules. But he tells her a long story about how he once loved a mortal woman. And when he came back from seemingly just a few hours on Olympus, decades and decades had passed. And so he swore he could never love again because of that. Do you not see, Leanna? I swore that day never to lose my heart to a mortal again. I dare not. Oh, Hercules, what a sad story. Sad, yes, thank Zeus it isn't true. Therefore, Leanna, I must return thee to thy father as soon as the reward is paid. So here Leanna tells him about Count Iguanus, who her father was supposedly selling her to. And so Hercules takes umbrage at that. His chivalrous nature takes hold. And here Iguanus shows up with some security officials to collect Leanna. And you can see a little bit on this page some of Luke McDonald's stuff coming through a bit. It's not quite as sharp as when Leighton was doing the full pencils and inks, but it still looks tremendous. Still a blast. Hercules, of course, objects to their desire to collect her, and a battle ensues. Moments later, it will take them a few seconds to recover. In the meantime, we must make good your escape. Hurriedly, they traverse the maze-like avenues, pushing through crowds of puzzled onlookers. Meanwhile, directly above the fleeing pair. There they are, men. Set your weapons on stun and open fire. Leanna, stand back. The time for escape hath passed. If the Count wishes to test the mettle of the Prince of Power, I shall be happy to oblige. You can't hold them off forever. What are we going to do? Fight on, woman, if necessary, to the death. So, meanwhile, the recorder is in jail. And this guy shares his drug stash with him, and the recorder consumes it all in a brief 3-panel moment of pretty good comedy. There's a lot of fun comedic moments in this. If you don't like sort of comedic fun stories that are a bit tongue-in-cheek, this might be the wrong tone for you, but I love it. Hercules, it's a dead end. Then 'tis time for a showdown. Iguanus, have you the courage to confront me man to man? I don't see the need, Outworlder. The girl is mine. We are to be wed, don't you see? Nay, the woman has the right to choose whom she shall wed. So if thou dost refuse to come down and face me, then Hercules shall bring the gift of combat to thee. Again, showing his incredible leaping ability here in this cool, long panel. And now, villain, renounce thine illicit purchase of the girl, and the Lion of Olympus will spare thee. What are you saying? I did not purchase her. Leanna betrothed herself to me, of her own free will. Sayest what? I love the shock conveyed here in this panel. It's totally great. The colors, too, in this series are just peak Marvel, just super professional. Everything looks awesome. So it turns out Leanna was putting Hercules on just as he put her on. And so he leaves them to sort it out with each other. But he doesn't go away empty-handed. Indeed, I bid thee farewell, friend. Wait, regardless of what else happened, there remains the matter of my indebtedness to you for Leanna's rescue. Later, after posting bail for the recorder, Hercules visits the intensive care ward of the Port Antares Hospital. You see what those blasted animals of yours did to us? We're going to be in body cast and anti-gravity traction for 6 months. My sympathy, gentlemen. But to brighten thy spirits, Hercules is prepared to honor his debt and take the beasts off thy hands. By the way, I had my faithful recorder examine thy ship. He did find of all things a concealed afterburner. 'Twas not very sporting of thee. Big deal, you still owe us. True, And you'll be pleased to know that I have tendered the 10,000 credits to the hospital's officials on thy behalf to cover all thy expenses exactly. And so, my friends, we part as we met, though perhaps ye be somewhat worse for the wear. Next, whom the god would destroy, be there. I think another thing I didn't reinforce enough when I went through the first issue of this amazing little limited series is just the sheer joy that bleeds off of every page. It's not just the comedic tone, it's the energy, just the dynamism, and the obvious love Layton has for the subject matter. And it's really incredible. I love it, and I'm sorry I waited so long to cover it, but here we are, and we're going to continue on through issues 3 and 4. And like I said, I'm also going to cover the 1983 4-issue limited series, and if I can get a hold of it, the graphic novel story as well. Folks online have speculated that this would make a great epic collection if you could fill enough Hercules material. I think you probably could, because I think he also showed up in stories in Marvel Comics Presents and maybe in that solo Avengers as well. I think you could fill at least one epic collection with some great Hercules material. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'll bring you more soon later on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.